There's the white ones I was just showing you. These are Glow Peaches, and that is Crest Haven. Some of these are really nice, maybe too nice to can. So what can we learn from this? If your branch is compromised, has fungus on it, sun scald, big gouges, then maybe we need to take off even more weight from the tree. Good morning, beautiful subscribers. It's August 18th here, southeastern Pennsylvania, zone 7A. And today we have a sad video for me, but hopefully by the end of the day, we can make the best of it. I was down at the beach yesterday when I got a call that one of my peach tree branches broke off the tree, but it turns out that it was about half of the tree. So if you've been growing peach trees long enough, this is a problem that you are going to run into. So let's see if we can make the best of it. All right, so these were all the peaches plus another box inside the house that was on this half of the tree. Now this was the white flesh, white skin peach that I've been talking about all year, and it was actually only about 10 days away from being harvested, from being ripe. Some of them were actually ripe. We can see, yeah, this is really green, whitish green. People would say, no way this is ripe, but look how soft this is. Juicy, soft. And that's why I've been saying all year that this tree is really unique. So, what are we gonna do with 150 unripe peaches? Well, we're gonna can them. So, later in this video, we're gonna start the canning process. I think it'll be all right though, because they still have some sugar content, and by the time we cut them up and put them in the syrup with the sugar, I think we're gonna be okay. Before we can start canning, we have to deal with this problem. Obviously, we gotta get rid of the giant branch, and then we need to make a nice clean cut up here. And the problem is, it started to tear down the main trunk, which is devastating. So, why did this happen? Obviously, too much weight on this side of the tree, too many peaches, and I was thinning and thinning and thinning. If you go back and watch, even like a few weeks ago, I have a short video where I'm out here with the pole clip thinning this tree just a few weeks ago. So you guys know how much I love to thin, and it still broke. And that's probably because the tree is old and stressed out. So you could see here that it has sun scald. So the branch is already compromised to begin with. All right, so this cut is really important, obviously, because it's on the main trunk. We want to be really, really careful when we're doing this. We need to sterilize the saws. This is isopropyl alcohol. Usually you can cut it with water. We want to make sure that the saws we're going to use are very sterile. When you see this big branch, your first instinct is to get a really big saw, but sometimes it's hard to make a really clean, nice cut with the bigger saw because the teeth are bigger and further apart. So I'm gonna try and do it with this one. And if there was any more weight on this, you would have to make a cut up here first to get the weight off of it so we can make a nice, clean cut. We have to get right below where it tore, but I also don't wanna go any lower than that. I think maybe we're gonna be okay. We wanna get right here in this collar, and hopefully that is below, I don't know, where it tore back here. Because if we don't get below where it tore, then it's never gonna heal. And if never gonna heal, then it's just gonna keep tearing down the main trunk year after year. It's gonna get worse and worse and worse and just keep ripping down here as the sun bakes on it. As you get to the end, you wanna brace this, get some weight off of it, because even this little bit of weight, 1 or 2 pounds, can tear this last little bit of bark, which we do not want to do. You see how I'm bracing the weight? And we're gonna try and make this as clean, as sharp as we can. That was actually a good cut. That was a really good cut. But the problem is, the whole back side of this is compromised. It's all rotten. And you can see this entire section right here is all rotten, weak, and soft. And this is going to be a problem. So, I've mentioned it in my other videos that if you go on the internet, they say the life expectancy of a peach tree really producing good for a long period of time is 15 years. These trees are 13 years old, and that's why I started planting the other ones, the Alberta, the Crest Haven, the Red Haven, because I just know that this thing is on its way out, unfortunately. Do we put pruning sealer on it or not? I want you guys to hit me down in the comments section. We'll see how many people say yes, how many people say no. This is a heated debate on the internet, whether or not we should seal this wound with pruning sealer. Now, if this tree was really young and growing vigorously and it didn't have this soft spot on the back here, then I probably would not use the sealer. So I think I'm gonna spray it, but I'm gonna wait to see what you guys say. Protective seal for pruned or damaged trees and shrub. This is from Bonide. I mean, obviously this is compromised. I'm probably gonna lose this entire branch to here. And what happens is it's just gonna tear down this trunk, and eventually I'm gonna have to bite the bullet. If it starts tearing too low before it gets to this next crotch, then I'll have to take one for the team, and this branch is gonna have to go completely. But what I'm gonna try and do next spring is we're gonna take some fresh cuttings off the back side of the tree, because half of this tree is still okay. And then we're gonna come over here and we're gonna try and side graft them to the trunk. And we're gonna see if we can get this tree restored. There's still about 150 peaches on this tree. So hopefully no more branches break in the next week. I think by next weekend we'll be harvesting the rest of them. So I wasn't planning on canning for another week or two, but because we had run into the problem with the big branch breaking, we are gonna can earlier than normal, and they still have flavor. So I was worried that they were gonna be too green and too hard, but actually you don't want to can with a peach that's really, really soft or really, really ripe, because it just breaks down too much in the sugar. And then when you go to eat it in a year from now, it's like mush. So I think we're gonna be okay. I got the softest ones that fell on the ground after the branch broke. And by the time that we put them in the sugar and they sit in that sugar for 6, 8, 9 months, I think it's not going to be a problem. All right, I'm by no means a canning expert. There's literally thousands of videos on YouTube of how to can. So if you really want to learn how to can, this is probably not the best one for you, but I'll show you how I like to do it here. We're not going to spend a lot of time on each step, but obviously the first step is to scrub them down and clean them off. I will just use a regular dish brush and some organic fruit wash. This is going to get any dirt, leftover insects, and some of the peach fuzz off, which I don't actually like to have on my peaches when I can them. Okay, the next step after we scrub them down is to cut them up and then put them in some water with lemon juice. The internet claims it's like a quart of lemon juice for 4 cups of water. But like I said, this is not going to be a detailed canning video. If you want real detailed canning videos, then you need to go to someone else's channel. I am not taking the skin off my peaches because it's a total pain in the butt. Sometimes if you want to blanch them and then take them out and then peel them, you probably will have better canned peaches in the long run if you take the skin off. But I find that it is not necessary. Everybody loves my canned peaches regardless of the skin being on there. So we're gonna try and cut them up into evenly sized pieces. But in all reality, if they're not perfectly even, it does not matter. This is not a perfect science. The lemon juice just keeps these from turning brown in the meantime before we move on to the next step. If the peach is soft enough, you can take the entire pit out, and then you get more bang for your buck here. It's a little bit more of a pain in the ass, so it depends how soft the peach is. But once we get the pit out, then we get to utilize a lot more of the fruit. But some of these are so green, it's a pain to try and get the pit out. It's still stuck to the fruit. So if you can do it this way, you're going to get a lot more percentage of the fruit than just trying to cut around the pit. See, this one's really green. We'll see if we can get it out. Yeah, not too bad. Throw that aside. Maybe cut these up into 8ths. All right, the next step is sanitizing the jars and the lids. You can do that by boiling them. We also put the jars in the oven. You can also put the jars in the dishwasher if you want to sanitize them. Everything needs to be really clean. And then we're gonna make the syrup. I'm gonna use 10 cups of syrup for 24 cups of water. We're gonna boil it down in this pot. Once the sugar has broken down in the boiling water, the syrup is ready, and then we can start packing the jars with peaches. So we take the peaches that I cut up, and we're gonna put them in the jars with the skin facing out. Here's one with no syrup. And then we are going to fill them up with the funnel. almost all the way to the top with syrup. We want to try and get all the air out of them. After you have the jars filled with peaches and syrup, you get the air out of them by shaking them a little bit. And then they go back in the pot, boiling water. It's boiling now for 20 minutes, and then they should be sealed and ready to go. Okay, we have the first 5 out of the pot. These are done. We want to bring them down, the temperature down slowly. That's why we have them wrapped in these towels. You will know if it worked because the lids don't move at all. They're concave. See, there's no give. It's not making the popping noise, so this one sealed well. All right, check it out. We're all finished. We got 30 ball jars, roughly 100 peaches. Hopefully, we made good out of a bad situation today. We'll know in about 24 hours if the seal has worked. And we'll come back in about 3 months and we'll give them a taste test. So thanks for watching, everybody. And like always, hit that subscribe button and I'll see you guys in the next video.